You think today's billionaires know how to waste money? Oh, that's cute. Cleopatra once drank a small country's GDP just to win an argument. So yeah, let's dive into the absolutely wild playbook of Egypt's last pharaoh. Okay, so you got to picture this. Cleopatra and her lover, the Roman general Mark Antony, are having this little competition. Who can throw the most ridiculously expensive party? Antony goes all out, rare wines, exotic dancers, the whole shebang. And he's feeling pretty good about himself. Then it's Cleopatra's turn. She doesn't call for more entertainment. No. She just casually takes off one of her enormous pearl earrings, drops it into a glass of strong vinegar, and just waits. It dissolves into this milky liquid. And then she drinks it. Just like that. An absolute platinum-level flex that left Antony completely speechless. But you know what? Drinking a million-dollar pearl? That was just her warm-up act. Her entire reign was one power move after another, each one so audacious they still echo through history. So let's count down her 5 wildest moments. Coming in at number 5, her absolutely insane skincare routine. Seriously, forget all the stuff you see today. Cleopatra took it to a whole other level. And we're not just talking about, a simple face mask. She bathed in donkey milk every single day, a full-on immersive soak. The sheer scale of this is just staggering. It took a herd of 700 donkeys just to keep up with her daily demand for milk. She'd mix that with honey and sprinkle in actual gold dust. She claimed it was a secret to her immortality, and honestly, since we're still talking about her 2,000 years later, maybe she was onto something. All right, next up at number 4 is how Cleopatra made an entrance. She didn't just want to be seen. Oh no. She wanted to be an entire sensory event, totally impossible to ignore. So when she was set to meet Mark Antony for the first time in Tarsus, she orchestrated one of the most brilliant arrivals in history. She decided her grand entrance wasn't going to start with what you see, but what you smell. Get this. She had the sails of her magnificent ship drenched in perfume. So as she sailed down the river, the wind basically acted as her PR agent, blanketing the entire city in her fragrance. People literally followed the scent to the riverbank. By the time her ship even came into view, a massive crowd was already waiting. And then she steps out, dressed as Aphrodite, the goddess of love. Antony didn't just fall for her, he was chemically ambushed. From scent-based manipulation, we move to pure emotional warfare. And at number 3, we have a tactic that is both brilliant and, let's be honest, terrifyingly toxic. Cleopatra repeatedly faked her own death. One time, she apparently did it just to see how Mark Antony would react. And his reaction? He stabbed himself in despair. She basically invented the concept of ghosting, but with a body count. Okay, coming in hot at number 2 is maybe her most iconic power play of all time. This is the story of how she reclaimed her throne when everything seemed completely lost. So her younger brother and co-ruler, Ptolemy XIII, had kicked her out of Egypt and, wanted her dead. She was locked out of the palace, surrounded by enemies. A lesser ruler might have just given up, but not Cleopatra. She has a loyal servant roll her up inside a carpet. This carpet is then smuggled past all the guards and delivered directly to Julius Caesar's private chambers, and then they unroll it. Out pops Cleopatra, perfectly poised and ready to negotiate. Caesar was so stunned and impressed by her sheer audacity that he immediately sided with her. Game, set, match. And now for the number 1 most unhinged move of Cleopatra's career. And this one takes us into the most cursed part of her life, her family. To really get this, you have to understand that in the Ptolemaic dynasty, marrying your sibling wasn't just common, it was policy. It was all about keeping the bloodline pure. But this also meant your biggest political rival was often sleeping right down the hall. So first, she's forced to marry her younger brother, Ptolemy XIII. Yeah, the one who exiled her. After she comes back with Caesar's help, they go to war, and he conveniently drowns while trying to flee. Later, she marries another brother, Ptolemy XIV, and when he became inconvenient, he also died, officially from natural causes. Cleopatra was nothing if not on brand. So, with her power in Egypt now absolute, her focus shifts back to the global stage. And after Caesar is assassinated, Cleopatra doesn't waste time mourning. She rebrands. She enters what might just be history's worst situationship because she needed a new Roman ally, and the powerful, reckless Mark Antony was the perfect target. Together, she and Antony ruled the Eastern Roman territories like absolute rock stars. But this directly challenged Roman authority. Their lavish lifestyle and open defiance enraged Caesar's heir, the cold, calculating Octavian, and it sparked a massive power struggle. This all came to a head at the disastrous naval battle of Actium. In a shocking move, they retreated, abandoning their own forces and pretty much sealing their fate. And Octavian, he launched this brilliant propaganda war. He framed Cleopatra not as a legitimate ruler, but as this dangerous foreign sorceress who had corrupted a good Roman man. He totally turned Rome against them, paving the way for his invasion of Egypt. With Octavian's army closing in on Alexandria, defeat was inevitable. But if you think Cleopatra was about to become anyone's trophy, you haven't been paying attention. She began preparing for her final and most legendary act of defiance. So this set up two completely competing narratives for her final act. Octavian's plan was to drag her through the streets of Rome in chains, a living symbol of his victory. But Cleopatra, well, she had her own plan, one that guaranteed she would keep her dignity and her control, even in death. She staged her death one final time, a rumor that sent Antony into a fatal despair. With him gone, she dressed herself in her full royal regalia, placed her crown on her own head, and, according to legend, chose her own end by the bite of a venomous snake. She denied Octavian his victory parade and cemented her own legend. She died a queen. In the end, Cleopatra wasn't history's victim. She was its villain, its architect, and its final boss. She absolutely refused to let anyone else write her ending. So looking back at her legendary playbook, which move is the ultimate proof that she was and always will be an absolute icon?